If you want to go farther faster, surrender is your solution, because surrender is a supernatural success strategy. And the reason so many people have a hard time with surrender is because we have decided that surrender is synonymous to being passive, when the truth is surrender is active. Surrender is actually active alignment every day in every way. And when it comes to alignment, there are 3 core areas, only 3, that you should be focusing on. That is person, purpose, and people. Now, let me talk to you real quick. So when it comes to person, most people think that, again, surrender is about being lazy. It's about doing nothing. That's not it. Surrender is about being aligned with the person that God has created you to be. This means operating in your God-given identity. Now, this is tricky because most people have paralleled purpose as their person. So they think because they know what they are put on this earth to do, they know who they are. Not the same. When it comes to you as a person in your God-given identity, that is who you are, completely detached from what you do, completely detached from the roles and responsibilities that you have, completely detached from the rewards that you receive. And who you are is your identity, your core identity. That is where you find your value and your worth. When you know who you are, detached from what you do, which is your purpose, you need nothing externally to validate you. However, it's difficult because when it comes to the way of the world and what we've been taught, our identity is attached to our network and our net worth. So it's often attached to tangible things, external things, monetary value, the people that we know, right? And so we spend most of our lives trying to become the version of ourselves that's going to be validated by people, places, or things. We spend the majority of our lives trying to get someone to say that we are good enough. We spend the majority of our time wanting to be applauded, approved, and to receive accolades. And so when God is saying to you that you need to surrender, which is about alignment, is difficult because you can't separate subconsciously doing versus being. Okay? Now, when it comes to purpose, purpose is the reason that you were created and put on this earth. So before God formed you in your mother's womb, he knew you, right? And he had already given you a calling. He'd already given you a purpose for what you were supposed to do on this earth. That's the mantle that's on your life. That's the mission. And then there's the mandate, right? So the mantle is that's your gift, your governing operation, what you operate under. And then you have the mission, right? This is what you're striving to do, what problem you are essentially put on this earth to solve. And then you have the mandate, right? And so the mandate is about what you're called to do for this particular time, this particular season. And those things shift depending on the third thing, the third area that you need to be in alignment with, which is the people. And that is the people that you are actually called to serve. Now, most of the times, even when we are developing our businesses or we're fulfilling our purpose, we still focus on what is it that I need to do, right? Instead of focusing on who is it that I am called to serve. And the frustration happens because we spend more time focusing on what we need to do, when if we focus more on who we are called to serve, then what we are supposed to do is made known to us, and how we're supposed to do it is made known to us, right? So we focus either on what we're supposed to do or we're focused on how we need to do it. However, your focus should only be on who you are called to serve. When you do that, how to do it and what is revealed to you, okay? So Most of the times when it comes to walking in surrender, right, we don't understand that anytime we get out of alignment in either of these with our person, anytime you have to compromise your core values, your common vision or your called vision, anytime you have to conform to a different version of yourself to do anything, you are out of alignment. Doesn't matter what room you step in, doesn't matter what stage you stand on. Anytime you have to alter your authenticity to perform or to do anything, you are now out of alignment. And this again goes right back to the person not believing that who you are is enough, not believing that how God has created you is enough. So you start to conform, right? So this means that if you normally have a very bubbly personality or a very bold personality, somewhere along the way, someone may have looked at you sideways or may have said you're doing too much, may have told you you need to tone it down. So you begin to alter your authenticity because whoever said that, you were looking for approval from them. Whether it was a parent, whether it was a peer, whether it was a certain group of people, whether it was because of profit, which means there was on your job, you start to alter your authenticity so that you can be approved by said individual. And so, but anytime you do that, you get out of alignment. And anytime you get out of alignment, it slows up the progress of growth, right? When you start to pursue something that is not rooted in your purpose, but the sole reason you're doing this is that you want to gain a profit, which there's nothing wrong with making money. So I want to be very clear about that. Prosperity is God's promise. It's not a gospel. It's simply a promise. It's one of the promises in the Bible. However, when what your purpose is not just about the profit. Your purpose is about the people who need what you have been put on this earth for. When you get out of alignment with that, which is your purpose, is also about the posture of your heart. It is your why you are doing the things that you're doing. And then it is about the people that you are called to serve. And this is a very big one. And this is where a lot of people get caught up, because we don't realize that when we are not operating from our purpose, from our core value, and simply who we are, already believing that we are enough, we can inadvertently start serving people who need us to be their saviors. I'm going to say that again. We can inadvertently begin to attract and start trying to serve people who need us to be their saviors, and not showing up simply as a solution for the answer to their prayers. How do you know you're showing up as someone's savior and not the servant? Because when you're showing up as someone's savior, when you look at why you're doing what you're doing, in many cases, you're trying to save the version of yourself that no one else saved when you needed them. And this is why I don't believe in, or I'm not fully bought into, the each one teach one mentality. That's why I'm not bought into that. I'm not bought into it because I believe that in most cases, it actually positions us to be the God in people's lives. It positions us in a space where we are still trying to be to ourselves what we wish someone had been to us, which is an indication that we have not allowed God to be who he needs to be to us in those spaces. We have not allowed God to heal those spaces, heal that hurt. And so we're still operating in that superhero syndrome. The people that you're called to serve are the people that simply need the solution. They don't need you to save them. They have a problem that needs to be solved. Also, the people that you are called to serve are people that actually position you to continue to lean on God to be able to serve them. And I talked about this in another video where I broke down the difference between your comfort client and your catalyst client. So I'm not going to go into details with that here. However, that is something that I'll have that video attached to this one so that you can watch it afterwards. However, again, when it comes to surrender, surrender is not about being passive. It's not about doing nothing. Surrender is about operating from your being versus doing. Surrender is about relinquishing your need to control and be the savior in other people's lives and being your own savior. Because anytime you're operating in control, you have convinced yourself that you are your own savior. So surrender also is about alignment, being in alignment in 3 areas and doing this every day in every way. Being in alignment with your person, the person that you are at your core identity, completely detached from what you do. Being in alignment with your purpose. Your purpose is not your identity. Your purpose is an extension of your identity. And then being in alignment with the people that you are called to serve, not the ones that you need to save. All right? So that's all I have to say. I'll be back in another video when I have something else to say. All right?